To filter it down this rabbit hole, let me ask you a question about being an unethical douche. I had a long debate with someone today about this, and it was a true
Uh,
debate, and I feel really good about where we landed. We were both on opposite sides, but I'd be curious as a competitor your thoughts. There's a lot of debate in the community around cheating that athletes are doing in competition, it's being called cheating where an athlete is missing a rep and not getting no rep in a live competition. You follow me?
yep,
I'm gonna be really specific. There was a post today from one of our best friends, Danny Spiegel. It was on the
yep,
CrossFit page. It's people were blowing it up because Danny kind of notoriously has some reps that are viewed as, not the highest quality. And I think that's a fair criticism of an athlete when you watch them, including Danny. I'm not defending her reps here. But my argument was, is like in a live competition, the judge is responsible, and the athlete's job is to complete the reps and get called no rep or get credit for the rep. But at the end of the day, the judge a foot away from them is the one that's calling that rep good or bad. Right. And so
agree.
that was the debate was they were calling Danny a cheater. Well, she's a known cheater, so she's low quality was basically their thing. And so I guess that's the question for you. Like, I fully agree with what you're saying around, hey, you could cheat the open and you didn't, so you're not an unethical douche, and I think that's a great thing. But live competition, is it cheating or just competing?
You know, I have two thoughts on this. I think one, as a competitor, my job is to make it super easy for my judge. That's what I want to do. I want to make their job so easy that there's not even a chance I'm going to get a no rep. And it's a selfish ambition, like because and a no rep is disorienting. You're throwing wall balls and
Yeah.
you're throwing 50 of them, and they give you one no rep. All you're thinking is now I got to do 51 or 52, and it kills you inside a little bit. So I think as a competitor, Rich Froning did this so well. Like his judge will never call a no rep because he's never going to be close to no repping.
Yeah.
So I think that's our job as competitors to make our judge's job easy. On the other hand, when it comes down to it, you're, y yeah, it's on the judge. And I think of an example in the 2019 games, we had bar muscle ups and snatches. It was a repeat from what the individuals did in 2018. We did in 2019. And I was finishing up my last bar muscle up, right? And I was going to come off the bar and sprint across the field. On that bar muscle up, my right hand slipped off and I slammed onto that bar. And I think there was a rule, I wasn't sure about it, but if you laid on the bar with
Yes,
the
you
Yep.
hand
could
not
not
on it,
pause on the bar,
yeah,
yeah.
that's a no rep. But my hand literally slipped off. And so I'm up on the bar, and my judge had already turned and started running before I finished the rep. So I got my hand on there, straightened out, finished it, jumped down, and I booked across the field. And now I didn't win the event, and I potentially could have done another muscle up. It had no effect on the outcome, but my judge did not see the end of that rep. But my judge gave me that rep, and I took it. I'm right there, and this is the 45th muscle up or however many there were. But yeah, no, I fell onto the bar. Judge didn't even see it. Slight judging mistake there. Like you should watch the very end of the movement. But she was ready to watch me run down the field and get a proper time. So anyway, I mean, I took the rep. And when you're doing like double unders in competition and you're doing 60 of them, and I know the count in my head, and I'm watching my judge, and they say done before I get to 60, I'm not doing more reps. Like one
Right.
of us
No,
messed up. I trust you, and and that's that. Now,
right.
for Danny Spiegel, she's just a nice an example where because of her body composition, and has such strong legs, right? Getting to depth is really hard to tell on squats. Her hip crease versus her knees versus the size of her quads, all of that is just a big giant disaster for a judge to try to make sure she's getting deep enough. It's just hard. So I mean, I'm not giving her any advice, but I think it's to keep yourself out of the dirt. Just go an inch lower. Like make it easy for your judge in every way possible. And oftentimes when I go out on the floor, I'll even talk to my judge about making sure like, hey, we're doing cleans. My elbow needs to get in front of the bar, right? To make sure we're both on the same page, so that when all I have to do is flash that elbow in front of the bar, not catch in a elbows forward situation. So I like to try to communicate a lot to make sure we're good. And I can't think. I, I think I've gotten no rep maybe twice in the CrossFit Games. One, because I can't hit a target with a wall ball. Actually, I got like 4 no reps on that one. Never mind. Two
It's
separate
hard.
events. I can't hit a target. And it's just like, I'm just going to plan for some no reps on there. And I think we had one event in 2018 that started out with some deadlifts. And I think they no repped everyone's first rep just to let everyone know you got to stand up all the way. Like, I
Mhm.
think
Right.
everyone got a no rep. And I think it was strategic. But no, I make clear movements. That's on us. But if, sorry, long answer. John, if they give you the rep, that's on the judge.
Yeah,
Now,
I think you're right about the clear movements though. I mean, because the rules
yeah,
do actually say it's on the athlete as well.
Mhm.
But
yes.
I was someone pointed that out to me. I'm like, you're not wrong. But in the history of the CrossFit Games, who has ever no rep themselves? I've never seen it happen.
right,
Now, it's not to
right,
say it hasn't. I mean, like clearly you
right.
finished your rep, but they weren't watching.
They were watching. I mean,
You
I could
didn't
have
call them
dropped the
back.
bar.
You know,
No,
yeah,
wait, I got one more.
yeah,
No, I did not.
exactly.
And
And this isn't golf where, it's
yeah,
like it's a standard in golf to call your own penalties where CrossFit's a little different, but obviously because it's a much, much faster
Right.
sport.
Well, that I
yes,
think you're talking about something too where it's like someone didn't not do the squat. It's a question of millimeters of
Yeah,
depth. And
yeah.
right.
so the athlete
Yeah.
probably does think. The athletes are can I give my answer to this question? Because I'm
Yes.
also kind of like halfway
Yes.
in the middle where
Yeah, we'll
like
allow it.
thank you. Thank you. It is the judge's call is the final call. That's my opinion. I do not have the vantage point from my couch eating Cheetos, being a fat ass, to say whether or not that elite athlete squatted to depth. The judge has the final call. Even though it might look like I have a great angle, even though whatever, it's all smoke and mirrors. The person on the field of play is the one who's making the call. Do I think that we need to do like a better job, like training judges and making sure that they're all on the same page and whatever? Like that is an entirely separate discussion. But right now, in the way that we are doing judging and volunteer judging in our sport, that judge has the final call. I do think that the athletes they're being, we're asking a lot of them. We're asking a lot of them to move as fast as possible, be as strong as possible. Every millimeter counts. They got to get the right foot over the finish line. The foot with the chip timer has to be someone could cross first, but the other leg was in the back. Like there's a lot and there's like real careers on the line here. So I'm not surprised that people are trying to move as fast as possible. And sometimes that shortens range of motion. But I do think that the
Yes,
separation between a good athlete and a great athlete is one that leaves no room for error and no question for their judges. So it's just kind of all I just don't think you can give a black and white answer without considering the grayscale of the entire thing that we're talking about here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I
And I, I was going to say that most movements, not 100%, but it's got to be somewhere high. 95% of movements, when done to full extension, full range of motion, is it a more efficient movement? And actually, when you're doing thruster races for time, 50 of them onto a proper depth, getting a solid spring out of the bottom of that squat to a full extension overhead, which will then allow the bar to respring back down. By doing full ranges of motion, generally, you're actually probably going to be more efficient in your overall management of the event. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like
No,
if I try to
better form is always more
always
efficient at the end
wins.
of the day.
If
100%.
if I
Yeah.
if I try to short wall balls, then that kills me. Like
Right.
no, I really should just go ahead and get to the bottom of my squat to get the rebound as an example. And
You
I
know what
just
my
want to
favorite
say,
thing is though?
go ahead.
Oh no, you go.
Yeah.
You go ahead.
No,
You
I
go
was
ahead.
gonna make a joke. I was gonna make a joke and say like Cheetos are just fine. I don't know if Cheetos and sitting on the couch, those are totally fair combinations. And one of my secret sauces is carb loading in the evening with a handful of, well, plenty of Cheetos. Those
Ooh.
that know me know that I do like some white cheddar Cheetos.
Oh, white cheddar Cheetos.
Oh
Those are the
yeah, yeah.
fancy ones.
They are fancy. They're organic, which means nothing.
Are
Because
they
they have
baked ones?
yeah, they are.
Oh, lame. Just eat a
Come on,
fucking
no, they're amazing.
Cheeto.
Well, those are great
No.
too. They're great. They're great. I get it by the bag. Like they're amazing. But
But
what were
you know
you
what?
gonna say?
You know, my favorite thing is? My favorite thing is this happens a lot in the masters in the older divisions where people's range of motion is quite literally stunted from who
Yes.
knows what, sometimes from injuries or from surgeries, sometimes from just starting CrossFit late. And they're just like, this is how I move. They're like, these are the ergonomics of my body. And so, my favorite thing to watch is before the heat starts, when a master's athlete will go to their judge and be like, listen, this quite literally is full extension in this elbow. Like it does
Right.
not straighten. So like this one's gonna be real straight and this one's gonna have a little bit of a bend. And like that is my complete range of motion. And we're like, count it because you're an epic elite
Right.
athlete and also
You're
you're
67.
65 years old. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like
Yeah.
you get to do your squat depth because that's what your skeleton does at this age. And we're proud of you.
Yes. And I think there's a fine line there. There is a little bit of a line that you should be now, like straightening an arm. You're right. Like there could be like a broken elbow in the history, and it's way harder to not straighten your arm overhead from a shoulder fatigue standpoint. Anything overhead, but I do think that I don't know. I just want to say, yeah, even 60 plus masters athletes, you got to get below parallel. I remember
Mhm.
last year, Cal Charrington, I think it was his last year, maybe, but he's a multiple champion in the 65 plus range. Great guy. He's 9 feet tall, at least. And I want to say that he had to do pistols in last year's games in 2022. I think we all did pistols. And, he was really concerned backstage that he could even get to depth. But I think he went out and just got it done. And that's amazing. A 60-plus-year-old, he's not 9 feet tall, but he's quite tall, like 6'3" or 6'4". That is
Dang.
not a pistol body right there. But I think he got it done. And I'm pretty sure he was on the podium if he didn't win last year. I don't remember.
Dang.
I was going to
So, yeah.
say 9 feet tall in CrossFit terms is like 6 feet tall.
Right,
in
right,
normal
right,
It
right,
really
right,
is. I mean, that's what it looked like to me.
It's what it looks like to us normal size
Exactly.
folks.
I always wonder if like all these issues we're talking about when we're really focused on athletes is just the inconsistency of the last few years of really getting, the games getting their footing under them and having consistent leadership, consistent judging as an example. Like you mentioned, everybody got no rep on the first rep. And I'm going, why wasn't that just handled in the briefing? Like, why do you have to no rep people? Are you seeing better consistent judging? You've done this for 4 or 5 years now. Is it getting better or is it has staying the same?
Man, I have not had any issues with judging whatsoever. So the inconsistencies, stuff like that, I see that out there here and there. I think there's sometimes when there's like a new movement introduced, like a crossover or a double crossover, where the judges don't know how to count what a double crossover is. It was almost too new last year. That was maybe the most brutal judging error where, Daniel Brandon only got a couple of reps counted when she actually
Right.
did like 50 or something. But, besides that, from my division and from my perspective, I applaud the judges that are out there for 3 days judging masters athletes. There's 140 masters, not including teenagers. So add another, 40 teenagers this year to that mix for the age group divisions. They are out there going heat after heat after heat after heat. 7 masters divisions, 9 total, including all the age groups. That's a tremendous workload that they've got out there in the sun all day. And for me, I've never had a judging issue. Never. Like I like to have fun with them. In 2018, there was a double under snatch ladder for masters athletes. And I remember thinking that it was a typo when they released that workout online. I was like, well, that's a type. They're not having us do that. There's no way that we're doing 50 double unders and then 5 snatches at 185, double unders, 4 snatches at 205, double unders, 3 snatches at 225, double unders, 2 snatches at 245.
Oh my God.
Turns out, yeah, it was not a typo. Yeah, like I'd never done a snatch at 225 in my life. So we get out there. You got a 10-minute time cap. I do my double unders, snatches at 185, double under. Through the snatches at 205, I look at my judge. I'm like, dude, you could take a seat if you want. We're going to be here for a bit. I'm just going to let you know, we're not going anywhere fast here. And he smiled, but he didn't say anything because he's not talking to me in a competition. I mean, he's very
Right, right, right.
professional. And so I aggressively deadlifted the first rep. That was fun. And then I almost hit one. And then I hit one and stepped forward out of the box and got a no rep.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch. Then I hit one And it was just awesome. Like I'm looking at him, I'm smiling. I want to high five him because we're in this together for 6 minutes, or like there's the time cap is so far away. But I think I hit a couple. But again, that it's they're there. I want to have fun with them. I also need them to be professional, but I've never had an issue, John,
It just
with my
occurred to me, we're like 2 weeks from the games, and I'm asking you about judging, like, you're gonna go, "Yeah, those motherfuckers are out to
oh,
get
yeah.
me." You know? I hate those
They're all
guys.
amazing.
They're
Yeah.
gonna spit in
You
your
know what?
food in the back.
I'll tell you what's really cool is as we work through the games and they've got to know me. I maybe as a masters athlete, I have a little bit more of a public persona. And a lot of the judges, even if I'm not there, like they'll catch me like Jason, hey, that was really that was great or that was amazing. Or they'll catch me and we'll chat for a second, which is really cool because I just think I mean they're volunteering out there for 3 days in
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
conditions.
Yeah.
So the more that I can give them and the more thanks I can give them or time with them, it's just really cool. So
And m
uh,
my understanding is I'm not an expert at this, I don't know for sure, but my understanding is that at the games, all, if not most, I think all of the judges, like, have their L1s and
at
they
least,
do go
Yeah.
yeah, at least. And,
yeah,
some of them are incredible coaches and
Yeah.
trainers with lots and lots
yeah,
of experience, and then there are some,
yeah,
like, flow masters on staff and stuff like that. So,
yeah,
I know that it's a little bit more, like, at the CrossFit and CrossFit adjacent events throughout the year, and also even at the semifinals level where we really have volunteers that might not have
yeah,
as much experience in the judging
yeah,
world. But I do think at games they put a lot of effort into like building that team out
Yeah, and I'm
of
not
people
saying
who
they're
have
not
experience.
experienced. I mean, my point was is the games are, like, always changing and evolving,
yeah,
and
yeah,
movement standards are changing, and, like, the
True.
ability to get that
yeah,
information out to them quickly and to help everyone really understand what it looks like, and then to go do it live without really a lot of
yeah,
practice is really
Right.
difficult, and, I'm hopeful Dave, it makes a big impact to that as he's coming back
yeah,
in and can help, for the health of the sport, can really solidify that. So we get away from all these arguments of, are they cheating or is it a bad movement? Like,
Yeah.
you know, I think the
yeah,
more standardization we have, even in a constantly varied sport, will be good for the spectacle of the games. It'd be great for the athletes, great for the judging, great for those of us that are just watching and want to watch thruster races and don't want to argue in the chat comments about
Me,
whether
it's
Danny got to
me.
bed. Yeah,
You're
yeah.
talking about me. Um,